Tonight we continue our series, Power and Influence. Should your APS electricity bill be higher later this year? That is the question facing corporation commissioners right now. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 6, I'm Kadiba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. The 12 News I-Team has learned that Wall Street investors who stand to benefit if the commission increases rates held private meetings with one of the commissioners at least 4 times. Tonight, Team 12's Joe Dana reveals new records detailing the private meetings, what the commissioner says in response, and why critics are raising new alarms about it. Joe?
Look, meetings between commissioners and investors are not in themselves a problem. In fact, the organization that represents utility commissioners says in the proper setting, these meetings can be beneficial. But what they warn about are meetings that are not public, happening during an open rate case, as potentially posing a conflict of interest, or even worse. Put more strongly, the former chair of the commission, Bob Burns, tells us after reviewing details of these records that, quote, that commissioner, Kevin Thompson, can no longer be perceived as being impartial in his decisions. Now, here's why this could matter. As Burns put it, the primary responsibility of the commission is to protect the rate-paying public from overreach by utility monopolies. Commissioners are supposed to be as independent as any judge. And guys, these meetings come after Commissioner Thompson, who has been on the job since January, was criticized for having private meetings earlier this year. Now, at that time, fellow commissioners found there were no issues.
Zero evidence. None. Nada.
That was current Corporation Commission Chair Jim O'Connor in March, saying there was zero evidence Kevin Thompson acted inappropriately during private meetings with energy investors in New York.
There are always some who would rather vilify and attack than understand.
Thompson also spoke up in his defense.
I've been asked if I would do the meetings all over again, and the answer is, until I'm told otherwise by legal counsel or my fellow commissioners, is yes.
At that time, the commissioners voted 3-1 not to investigate the matter further.
If the commission had said that after investigating, that would have been one thing. There's no indication that they did any investigation. They've certainly not made anything public.
Abhay Padgaonkar filed the initial complaint against Commissioner Thompson. It's unclear what the commission knew at the time they chose not to investigate further. Their discussions were all behind closed doors. But these records the I-Team received from the commission show that Thompson scheduled 3 more private meetings in February after getting invitations from J.P. Morgan, Guggenheim, and Bank of America. Commissioner Nick Myers, also on the job since January, joined Thompson in a virtual meeting with B of A, according to the newly obtained records.
I've said it once and I will say it again. Amen, brother.
Myers has been outspoken in defending Thompson's communications with investors.
But I actually believe that not having conversations in this capacity within those that invest in our utility infrastructure is actually unethical.
The new records include emails like this from J.P. Morgan to Thompson. Quote, we recognize the sensitive nature of utility regulation and will keep the discussion strictly within the bounds of your choosing. Also, these meetings will not be recorded, nor will they be open to the public.
It was highly inappropriate.
Attorney Tom Ryan is a consumer advocate. He filed a conflict of interest complaint that prompted the resignation of a corporation commissioner 8 years ago. Ryan believes these new details of additional private meetings warrant a state investigation.
There's nothing about Commissioner Thompson's conduct that gives me confidence that he's been truthful about what happened here. And his ex parte communications is a serious matter, even if it creates the perception of impropriety.
Arizona's ex parte law prohibits communications to or from a commissioner not on the public record concerning the substantive merits of a contested proceeding. There is no evidence based on emails between Thompson and the investment firms that the APS rate case was discussed specifically. However, 2 firms did state they wanted to discuss Thompson's views on several topics that are at the heart of the APS rate case.
The financial metrics that they brought up over and over again, like ROE, like the riders, like the capital expenses, these are all fundamentally substantive matters in a rate case.
Current APS
in the current APS and TEP rate cases.
Thompson's policy advisor Ryan Anderson tells the I-Team no ex parte communications occurred during the private meetings. In an email, Anderson said, quote, Commissioner Thompson has always and will continue to perform his official duties with the highest ethical standards. Similar complaints by activists were already determined to be unfounded and meritless. So what happens next? Public comment is ongoing in the APS rate case. And what these consumer advocates are concerned about is whether the hearings can be fair if there is a conflict of interest. Now, since we reported this, the commission executive director and the attorney have not commented now for several months. Joe Dana, 12 News.
Joe, thanks.